Alright, hey guys, hosting this video because one of our classmates asked me to make a video of what my workspace looked like. I've been hesitant to do it just because it's been pretty messy in here the past couple months. I've had MDF taking up half the floor space, and I didn't really want to be showing off a messy room for what my workspace looked like. So finally had some time today to add a overhead shelf just to kind of use up some of the material that was in here, and I'm also going to show off what I have so far for my paint booth. Nick Matsuda is also making a paint booth, and so he asked if I could show him in a video what I have so far. So really quick, I'll just show what my workspace looks like. Here it is. I can't show you right now because I got other stuff on the table here, but this piece will remove and expose, well, shucks, I guess I'll show you. Hold on. Alright, so I removed the that board that was up there, and it exposes this type of framework here. This is actually a palette that I got, I think, from University Art. Whenever I go over there to get art supplies, I always try to grab a couple palettes for use of something. What I really like about this one is that it's got these nice open spaces here, so that whenever I need to cut something or use the router or rotozip or whatever, I can clamp it down to the table here and have a nice little open spot for cutting things. It only works for like small, short things, but I have another table outside that I use for bigger pieces. This whole room was empty when I first moved in, so I've added quite a bit of stuff into here. Again, another palette that I used for a table. Pretty much most of the tools that I have in here I got off of Craigslist, so don't be afraid to look over there, because you can get them for pretty cheap and they all still work pretty decently well. The only problem that I have with one is the bandsaw, and unfortunately the part that's ruined on it, or not really ruined, but it's pretty worn out, is the pulley, and unfortunately they don't sell that replacement part anymore. So I'm gonna have to, maybe during winter break or something, fill in the center area where the spindle goes through, and then drill it back out to fit it more snugly, because right now it's so worn that it just wobbles back and forth. No matter how much I tighten it, it just works its way back to being loosened again, and then you get like this really loud, obnoxious rocking with the machine. But for the most part, it still cuts alright. The drill press here, it is Ryobi, which I know John was mentioning is some of the most low quality tools that you could buy. However, and you know, for the most part I think I would have to agree, but for this drill press it's actually worked out pretty well. I haven't really had any problems with it, and I got that for $20 from some lady that was moving out of the area. The drop saw, or it might be a compound, I can't remember what the terms for these were, but you can tilt it left and right and whatnot. But I got that for $50. The washing machine motor sanding disc, that was actually for free from a neighbor before I moved out here. This other one, the Delta, I got that for $30. And the drill press, I believe, was $50. And I think you can't really see, it's kind of dark, but yeah, I got a shop vac down there, and then an air compressor, and a lot of these other ones though I think I've bought over the years for other projects and stuff, so it's a nice little collection of tools. So now I will talk about the paint booth that I'm currently working on whenever I have the free time. It's just an MDF wood, and I made it into that corner shape because I wanted it to sit on this table here in the corner, and I'm not really planning on moving it around anywhere. And I made it, trying to make sure I made it big enough to work with when any future projects that we're going to have in school. It's not much right now, like I said, whenever I got free time to work on it. But Nick was commenting on how he's been getting dust particles and whatnot on his piece whenever he tries to use his. I'm not familiar with how he has his ventilation set up, but instead of going through all the different types that you could do, I'll just explain the model that I'm doing. But I'm just going to be cutting out a hole or a little opening right in the back here, and then this filter, it's just a furnace filter. And the reason I'm using furnace filters is because it has one of the lower amount of restriction for airflow, and so that way the air will be pulled to the back behind this and down to the bottom. I'll have a little bit of a duct area underneath this board. As you can see, there's a space, although this is going to be moved up a little bit. It's just resting on some 2x4s right now. And then from there, I'll have a hose hookup coming out the side. That's going to go up to, where is it? This leaf blower. Technically, when you're working with paint booth, if you're using like these aerosol type sprays, you're supposed to use an explosion proof motor, and those are pretty expensive. What makes them explosion proof is that the motor is kept separate from the fan itself, so that any of the exhausts that are flammable that get drawn into the fan area, it's ducted through a duct where it doesn't come in contact with the motor and have risk of explosion from the electrical sparks of the motor and whatnot. But the leaf blower, from what I've read, and I've looked at it, taken it apart and looked at it, but you can't really tell from, because it's going to be too dark and stuff. The motor sits up here, and then the fan is just right down here, and if it has blades on both sides of the fan. So you have a plane, and then on this bottom plane you have the blades, and on this upper plane there's some blades. And the way that it works is when it's spinning, it will draw the air in, but at the same time on the top one it's pushing air out, so that it's drawing heat away from the motor and into the exhaust. So then that means any aerosol exhaust that gets drawn in here, it's not going to be coming in contact with the motor at all, because you have those other blades that are pushing air out as well. So from what I've read, leaf blowers are safe to use for little home paint booths, but I don't know what I need to say as far as liability stuff, but you try that at your own risk. So this is what I'll be using for my exhaust for this, and I actually intend to make it so that I could use it for room exhaust for whenever I'm working with sanding and foam and stuff like that, to help draw the foam dust out of here, because it's getting to the point where whenever I walk into the room, I'm almost always getting foam dust in my eyes just from moving around in here. So that'll probably be put into an enclosure where I can then just add the hoses to it and have the hose come down to here, and then put the exhaust out to the outside of the building somewhere. Unfortunately, I was looking for some vinyl vent ducting, but the only type that they seem to make nowadays is this metal aluminum type, which I don't really particularly like, because after a while, from being bent around too many times, you can get like those little holes and stuff that develop on the sides of it. Back to the booth. What I'm also intending to do is cut out holes, 4 big ones, 2 on each side, and then possibly also enclosing a little bit of a wall here and here, and possibly a little bit up here, so that I only have this little window here, and then on those walls possibly put some more cutouts for vents here. The reason for that is so that when the piece is inside and you're spray painting and stuff like that, you're not drawing air in strictly just from the opening in which you're spraying in, because that's also going to draw in dust particles as well, and then have those land on your piece. And so the reason for having the additional vent holes on the sides and on the front is so that not all the air is being dragged in through this little opening that I'm spraying in. Some of the air will be dragged in through these other holes. Those holes will be covered up with this type of vent filters. They're really cheap, and they are very low resistance, and they're easy enough to cut whatever shape you need them to be in. So I think that's about it. I chose to do the hole in the bottom just so I'm not trying to fight gravity as far as the paint coming in and being sucked into the vent and stuff. But once it's all done, I'll post another video and show you guys that. So hopefully, Nick, that helps you out. If you have questions, just go ahead and shoot them to me, and hopefully I can answer them for you. Alright, man. You guys have a good night. Bye.